Are you guys ready for another Rock 95.5 Top 5? I know I am. What's going on? I'm Walt, and I am joined by my crew, and today we are going to debate. We're going to roundtable the best songs of the year 2003.
Ooh, a good one.
Wait, I thought it was strip clubs in Atlanta.
Oh, next part.
Oh, next one. Next one.
Good idea.
Noted. Write that down.
The Pink Pony. I'm not getting into it.
Gold Rush Show Bar on Stewart Avenue.
It's a good one.
Cheetahs.
300 Cheetah's the
You
legendary.
park inside.
Well,
Yes, I had to leave my car there overnight.
Pod, people. You're blowing your load.
Literally. So I was thinking about this. The year 2003 sounds like it's of this millennia, but it's also 23 years ago.
Oh,
crazy,
don't do the math.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. So
Bastard.
there was a lot of great tunes that came out that year, the year 2003, and we're going to go around the room, and everybody's going to give us their take on the best song of that year. We're going to start to my right this time. We're going to go with Mr. Pat Capone.
What an amuse-bouche.
2003, man. That was a cool year. I was down in Florida doing morning radio in Southwest Florida, and Harley Davidson loved my show. They had heard my show, and so they reached out and offered me a new bike at cost, which they never do. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Let's go, I remember being in the showroom looking, and they had just released their 100th anniversary Harleys. The 2003 was the 100th, so I was going to get my hands on a brand new 100th anniversary Harley. And I did. I picked up the Fat Boy, and it's the bike you see me riding to this day, right? And so I had bought it was for cost. It was nothing. It was fabulous. I got this brand new Harley. Harley Davidson's paying me all this money as an endorsement deal. And my buddy goes, hey, man, I got Godsmack tickets to go see him. I think it was the House of Blues in Orlando at the time, which would have been like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour scoot from Naples, Fort Myers. And so we made the pilgrimage to Orlando, Florida, through the swamp and all the real Florida back roads.
Right,
and that's not Orlando back there.
No, it's methamphetamines.
Yeah,
There's
methamphetamines.
stuff in the yards there.
Yeah, and gators just cross the road on you, so you got to be careful riding.
It's true.
And we made the pilgrimage, me and my buddy JC made the pilgrimage to Orlando, and we met up with all the old dudes from 98 Rock who were there. Scott Ledger. Rig wasn't there. He was like the only guy that wasn't there, but so many of those old 98 Rock guys were there. And Godsmack was playing, and it was just crazy. And Serenity had just come out, and it was just the best show, man. I had a new Harley. I got to ride it to Godsmack. And so whenever I hear that song, it just reminds me of that whole day of jumping on a Harley, riding out to Orlando, seeing a kick-ass. I remember we stayed till the very end, and the whole floor, a wooden floor, was covered. Because it's Florida, and those dirt rockers, it was vomit and urine and sweat, and it was like a liquid. And I'm like, where did it all come from? And I was happy, and it was the greatest day of my life.
I love the fact that you refer to them as dirt rockers.
They are dirt rockers.
Yeah, they are. Hell
they
yeah,
are
they
the
are,
dirt
yes.
rockers. And isn't it funny, though, how a song, is that my favorite song from 2003? No. Is it the best song from 2000? No. Is it anything landmark about it? Not really. But to me, it reminds me of that day. And to me, that's
it's the
why
moment.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
It is.
That
dude.
stands out.
Yeah.
That's what music does.
That's it, right?
So, all right. So moving around, good one, Pat.
Thank you.
Moving along the way, what do we got, chap?
I was at that show at the House of Blues in 2003.
Get the hell out of
Yes,
here.
I was working at a radio station called WJR.
JRR, it was like the baby sister to 98 Rock. So wait a minute, so you know the floor I'm talking about.
Correct.
It was bad.
I used to eat off that floor constantly. I had just left a band, Chap Axman, by the way. Nice to see all of you. It's nice to get everybody in the same room. I was in a band called Only Midgets.
But were you?
Well, no, I'm 5'11".
Okay, so that was weird.
So, and they finally realized I shouldn't be in the band, so I got kicked out.
The rest of them were midgets?
Correct.
Little people.
2003, they could say that.
Can you
And
call
also
them-
go back to 2003.
Yeah, they were midgets.
Different time.
And also, I am on both JRR and 98 Rock in 2026. Their promotions still refer to them as midgets.
It's true.
So Florida,
that tracks.
It's normal
it's a
there.
different beast.
Yeah. In fact, if you called them a dwarf, they look around and they look for Snoopy and Sneezy.
Also true.
It's true. Yeah.
I think we've gotten off the path a bit.
It was your band. You started
It's
there.
true. My bad.
You can't bring up midgets and not expect it to get derailed. Come on.
We used to do a throwing thing at
Yeah.
WJR, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Did you do the Velcro where
Of
they would
course.
stick to the
Yeah,
wall?
But they put a little vest on them.
They outlawed it.
Yeah, it sounds cruel if you really think about it.
But that's how they made their living. It's sad that they're unemployed now.
So I was
By the way, what's your song?
So I was a disc jockey at WJR, and a local producer hit up our program director. His name was Pat Lynch. He was in a morning show called Pat Lynch and Taco Bob. And after a brief stint of not being employed by WJR, they are back indeed as the morning show of Pat Lynch and Taco Bob. They're institutionally amazing.
They are.
But Pat Lynch called me and said, "Hey, guys, bringing a record. I want you to play it." And I'm like, all right, it's my job, obviously. I already had a plan, but just throw the plan out the window. And ironically, because of this man's shirt, it was a new song from a brand new band
From just down the road.
from just down the street, just down I-4, a Jacksonville band called Shinedown. And the song was Fly From the Inside.
Oh my God!
And I was the first DJ to play Fly From the Inside on the radio.
Get out.
Again, a moment in time. I was like, oh, this is incredible. And I remember hearing it, obviously for the first time, and as we do, we listened to it really loudly inside the studio and had it cranked. Bob was there, the producer, and we're just listening to it real time. Pat wasn't there. It was just me and him. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And it was such an inspirational record. If you haven't heard Fly From the Inside, it ended up becoming a huge hit outside of Florida. The next song actually ended up being quite big, which was 45, another incredible record off of Leave a Whisper or something.
Yeah.
It just, it was one of those songs where, oh, that's what I feel like. They captured literally how I felt in that moment and then have felt that way ever since. Brent Smith, first of all, one of the most earnest dudes on the planet, one of the best people we've ever worked with. He's always sung as if like he could never sing that way again. He makes it really hard on himself.
Incredibly emotional.
Yes, deeply personal.
He feels everything he sings every night, every day, and that's incredible.
He really goes for it. And so that's one of I'm an on again, off again DJ, as you know. I'm out and about making floor sticky. But this was...
I heard that about the JRR offices, by the way. Yeah. Don't sit on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
Was that your couch?
I did use it.
Sure.
It was all of our couch. Anyway, so Fly From the Inside, if you have not heard that record, please listen to it. It was really the beginning. It was the genesis of Shinedown, and I was lucky enough to be a part of the beginning of it.
Lovely. All right, from Chap to Michael
right.
from the Morning Mosh Pit.
What's up? What's up?
I'm gonna start. I want to do a little audio thing here. All right, so get ready to clap, and we're gonna all do this together. Ready?
Yeah.
My song goes like this. Dun 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 dun. Now, not only a great song, simple, catchy, but at every hockey game, at every baseball game, at every football game, they're playing this song. Everybody's chanting. The song still gets covered like crazy, and it is just ridden with me all these years. I mean, I graduated high school in 2001, so I guess
That's
that came
disgusting.
out.
It is.
Listen, I'm not going to
a
say that.
fetus.
I feel a certain way. I don't want to say that in this room. So yes, White Stripes, Seven Nation Army. That's my pick.
I mean, what an incredible riff, though. I mean, I am sure that when Jack White wrote that thing, he had no thought, no concept that 20 years later it would be played and sung in stadiums at
Have
any
you ever seen the
sporting
soccer
event.
games like in foreign countries when that's chanting and they're like lighting things on fire in the crowd and the whole crowd is? I mean, it's incredible.
Michael, I have seen it many times.
Yeah. Oh, I know you have.
Being a foreigner.
Yeah.
Now, it is so simple. The riff is.
is.
That's the best
That
songs.
that's part of the key. That's
It's true.
The simplicity of it makes it brilliant.
yeah.
Great one.
If
White
only
Stripes.
if only he could like cash a check every time a stadium, the audience at a stadium saying that. That's not copyrightable. But like that,
Walt's thinking.
He's a cash guy. Do you know he's in a band?
Stabbing westward.
right? I thought you were going to go with the M word that we had said earlier, but no.
The M word.
No.
Oh, Walt's worried.
No, we don't do
He's
that
like,
to them.
I'm not editing this podcast. So, Capone, I'm sending this
We're
to
starting
you.
over.
Start over.
All right.
I would also like to add though that riff from Jack White. I gotta believe I'm not a musician, but like it is super simple, but god damn, it's got to be hard to just come up with something like that. I would think it would be the opposite.
I think you're right, because if it was easy, there'd be so many great, iconic, simple riffs, and there's not.
And here's the thing that blows my mind. There are only 12 notes, period. And they only go together a certain number of ways. And the fact that we can still create new music and new riffs and stuff like that after a millennia, it's incredible.
It goes right down to that saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yep.
Same 4 notes, play them slightly. One guy plays it one way, one guy plays it the next. But Jack really is. He's a disciple of that old school rock school, right? Where it's simple and it's cut down and simple riffs. But, simple riffs, musicians tend to try to be complicated. We want to be fancy.
They overthink it.
We want to be grand,
Are you talking about Guitar Fridays?
Yes, and Billy Corgan would be a great example of a guy like that, right? Like, let's add a symphony. But when Jack strips it down, and then you get that raw rock. That's rock and roll right there, man, right? The rock.
I mean, you go back to even Nirvana, which pretty much wrote Beatles songs in a minor key, but they were simple and resonated. I mean, also the lyrics, what he was saying resonated with a bunch of people, but musically, it's not overly complicated like it is for me to talk. But like you think about a Metallica song, usually those are pretty complicated.
Right.
Right? There are lots of twists and turns, but I mean, it still resonates. But it's not on the same level as they're not singing that at a football stadium.
And if you look at some of the biggest hits we've ever had in rock and roll, they're some of the most simple songs.
100%.
Yeah, really look at it, like Knocking on Heaven's Door, right? 3 chords and the truth.
I love
Another
rock
one
and
bites
roll.
of dust.
Another one bites of dust.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Every song Green Day ever wrote.
There you go. Or AC/DC. That's not right.
Yeah.
All right, Klinger, you're up. What do you got?
I'm thinking of the Hawkins brothers. Do you know the Hawkins brothers?
Are they of less shades?
Talking about The Darkness.
The Darkness.
Yes. And I remember when they came out with the song I heard for the very first time, and one of my big regrets is never being able to see Freddie Mercury and Queen. The timing just didn't work out, my age and stuff like that. And I love watching those YouTube videos of just so many people in London at these shows, and the way he just commanded your attention with that voice. And the first time I heard I Believe in a Thing Called Love, I couldn't believe how wild this guy's voice was.
Right?
Agreed.
And let me just say this. I am fully aware all of these superstars are dropping records in 2003. Some of which are my favorite bands in the whole wide world to this day. But this particular song from this particular band was like a exclamation point in the sand of Jacksonville Beach, which I was living, and I was working at Planet Radio at the time. And I heard it, and I loved it so damn much. And I couldn't believe he was hitting these notes. 23 years later, I don't know if he can still hit them, because he went on hiatus, got himself clean, I guess, and has been back in the band since 2011.
Yeah.
And they have continued to release records, The Darkness has, but that particular song is just one of my favorites from that year.
It definitely a standout. That voice definitely took people by surprise. Hearing notes hit that high, you don't normally hear that. And spandex. We're wearing spandex at the time.
And that's
in
why I had a
2003.
problem with it. I hated that song. I hated that song. I wanted to grab that guy by the back of his neck and walk him out of the building.
Because his voice was higher, because he was wearing spandex.
Yes. I hated him. But now, right?
By the way, you
I
can hit
dig
that
it.
note too if you put a cock ring on a little bit too small.
True.
Just
You
one,
always
but
should.
not too small, but just
Right.
one layer too small. You get that note.
Right.
I think it's an E.
It's very big in England, I heard. Yeah.
That's the thing about music, is that we all are on the same page sometimes we're not, and then our differences spawn conversations.
Like cock rings. Are you going to edit that out?
Fuck no.
Walter.
This is my kind of fucking podcast.
I'm wearing one right now. You can't even tell.
All of us
You do
are.
sound a little chippy today, though.
That's a good one. All right, so let's swing it over. We have a new member of our, podcast
Gentlemen's
today.
Club, yes.
From the Gentlemen's Club
Band.
on Saturday night. If you're listening to Rock
Nice.
95.5 in the 9 o'clock hour, you'll hear this man's fantastic voice.
I
DJ
appreciate it.
DJ
Appreciate it.
Steels.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Just right off the bat, 2003, junior in high school. and this song just spoke to me. But there's a story behind the song too. It starts off with, "There's something inside me that pulls beneath the surface."
Oh, there you go.
It's got to be Linkin Park. It's my
Gotta
favorite
be.
band.
Yeah.
Now, I got the CD for free with a car. I didn't have a car in 2003. Pickup game at the basketball court next to ABT off of Milwaukee in Glenview.
Yeah.
I lied and said I had a couple $1,000s in my pocket. Me and a buddy of mine by the name of Brian, 6'5", just dunking on people. So the guy forked up the car. I forked up a couple thousand. We beat him. He had the lease in the car. Wow. So I went right to the DMV, and that CD was playing. And it was so cool because it was 1994 Ford Taurus.
Oh my God, that's an incredible story.
Great story.
1994 Ford Taurus station wagon, right?
Shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon
My
first.
man.
There were sleeping bags in the trunk. That's wild. Kept the sleeping bags.
You hustled a new car from a sexual predator.
I'm out here
Maybe,
just
maybe.
saving lives. That's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah, and the CD was connected to a cassette deck adapter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Played it on repeat on the way home.
That is an amazing story.
That is.
What an incredible record, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I got to go with Linkin Park on that one.
And not to go dark before we get to yours, but we miss Chester, right? I mean, but there were signs that he was a bit dark, right? I mean, I think when he passed, we were like, "Oh no, Chester!" Like, well, I mean, if we listen to these lyrics, he's struggling, right? I mean, those nightmares are real. So call 988 if you have any problems.
Yeah.
Yes, there's always somebody there. And that is a serious note. It is, all right, so I have come. I can't top that story from
one
Steve,
can.
but nonetheless, I will try. I'll give you mine. In 2003, I was working in satellite radio, and there was a band that was just putting out their third record. They were an English band. And the management came to me and said, "Here, listen to this and tell me what you think." And it was the band Muse putting out their album Absolution. And I'm like, this is incredible, amazing. The first song, Time Is Running Out, was incredible, a great song. But when they got to the second song, Hysteria, and that bass line, I was like, oh my God, that just spoke to my soul. And then they're like, go see them live at the 930 Club. So I went, and it blew my mind seeing that band play there. And they're like, what'd you think? I'm like, I like to think that that's what Stabbing Westward was like when we played. Obviously, wishful thinking. But man,
Cute.
it was that song, that band, that album at that time, incredible. So Hysteria from Muse from the Absolution album 2003, hands down my pick for the year.
I think that's awesome, and that is actually my favorite entire record of 2003, and I love that band.
I mean, it's a start to finish album, and then even the next one, Supermassive Black Hole.
And a couple of years ago at United Center when Muse played, we were a couple of seats away from each other, and we had a moment.
Man, it's such a, I mean, that band has always been special. From that moment in 2003, and then I zip forward after satellite radio, I actually worked for said management company and was actually in a room in my office working on a small Pro Tools rig in my laptop with the guys in Muse trying to do an edit of Nights of Sidonia because it was a 6-minute song. How do we get that down into a radio-friendly format? We couldn't because of the key changes and whatnot, so we're like, leave it. But like, so the guys I spent a lot of time hanging out with at that time, and it's still one of my all-time favorite live bands.
What is it like to be a member of a band, but then eventually become a manager? Like, how did you approach? Did you treat your bands differently because of what you knew as being in a band?
Well, I wasn't a band manager. I actually was hired to do A&R, which is find bands to put on record labels, and we had a label, and so I was searching MySpace looking for bands.
MySpace. Let's go.
I feel like Tom is just sitting there waiting for somebody to walk in that never will.
Yeah, that look over the shoulder, right?
There's the future of AI. Poor Tom in that one photo where he's
looking over his shoulder.
He had 15 minutes, didn't he?
Your first friend.
The question is, which bands did you find, and which bands are still around?
Yeah.
Resume. Give it to us.
I put out 2 records, and then another label moved in and kind of kicked me to the curb. Then I managed producers that we oversaw. One of them being Rich Costey, who produced the Muse albums that we are talking about, these two. But the two bands I signed, the first one was Mohair. They are an English band that sound like something that Chap would. It might not be hair metal-y enough for you, but man, they are English to the nines. And
I love that band. I was in a cover band called No Hair at that exact same time. And I was the only one who had it, and they kicked me out again, and I had too much hair.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
advancedhair.com.
So Mohair was our first signing.
Nice.
We put that out, and they broke up because we didn't put out a second record. And they are actually doing a final reunion in London next month. I have tickets.
Oh.
Not sure I'm going to be able to make it in the current situation of things, but nonetheless, I have tickets.
What a cool thing, dude.
And then the other band was a band from Madison, Wisconsin called Rainer Maria. They had an indie career, and then we scooped them up and put out a record. I can't remember the title, Catastrophe. And it was, we had a good run, and then they broke up. So, and now then they got back together and still do things from time to time. So, but it is interesting. I will add that, like, yes, because of my experience being in a band, being managed, being A&R'd, I can bring all of that to working with bands on the other side. That's a wonderful roundtable, guys. Great year 2003. Thanks for all of the input, and be sure that you are liking and subscribing this podcast because we do them every month, and we will have another year, another thing to debate next month on another Rock 95.5 Top 5 podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.